Alright, lads and lasses, welcome along. Dataset 8. Thought I'd go back to my roots. You know, I used to do this. It's where I started doing a lot of this analytics work, really started to get into it a lot more through here. So, take you back to, bygone era for me. Never going to be left. Always going to come back to it. It's definitely the area I know the most. But, data is data, as they say. So, let's see where this scans, where it can take us, and how we can move through it. Yeah? You've all been there, though. You ring the IT service desk, you get the, hello? Right? Have you tried to turn it off? Right? Now turn it on. Right? You're welcome. Bye. You've all been there. Hi. Let's see what happens with this, eh? Bring this into a data set. Have a gun with it. Managed to find one. It's got some process history information as well, so we can do some process mining. We're also going to have multiple actors, multiple dates. So again, some multiple join management. So that's going to give us some fun times with that, with the DAX, I can tell you, right? And then within the DAX, there's some other opportunities as well, which I've been looking at and thinking, we should do this, we should do that, we should have a go with this, have a gun with that. Six Sigma, control charts, big thing. I'm going to do control charts. Have a look at some control charts in Power BI, how we can build them, how we can put them in and make it all work for us, right? If you didn't know Six Sigma, scan pretty charts, right? If you do, you might go, this man knows what he is talking about. Right? Do some stuff as well with matrices, especially with matrices, the matrix. Take the red pill or the blue pill. I can't remember which one's which, right? But DAX-assisted conditional formatting. Right? How can we make conditional formatting really work for us as a business, as a person? Right? So, going to do some of that within a matrix, and then we'll do some more of the ITIL KPIs, just the standard rubbish that you kind of get lots of stuff about, and you've probably sick to death of hearing about. You're like, it's part of life, isn't it? But by doing all that, hopefully in 4 weeks we're going to have a really nice, rich data set. And that's the important thing, isn't it? We're going to have like a really cool report pack built in my Power BI service that I can take people through and have a look and be like, this report pack is good. I can now use for myself. So yeah, I've got that going, aye. So what are we going to do today? Tell you what, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of my face. All right, and then we'll crack on. So demo 1. We're going to create a custom function. It's one of the things we're going to do first. So we're going to write a custom function in M from scratch. Right? Fun thing to do. It'd be nice. And then we'll crack on and we'll build the rest of it. Right? So the custom function, it's not that difficult. It's a few lines of code, nothing to be scared of. But the most important thing I want you to realize is that writing M isn't scary. Right? It's not something you're going to go, right? It all makes sense. It's really easy. And hopefully after this session, you'll be like, hey, I can do this. I can get in here and fiddle and do. So as you can see, I've built the pack and I've thrown in a few things just to make sure it was working. A couple of the process mining visuals, right? Now, one thing I wanted to draw your attention to here is these. Now, if you see these icons around your report pack, you've made a mistake, yeah? And I wanted to really highlight this to you, right? It's really easy to get them in and to not realize, and especially when you first start out with Power BI, they're on by default. So unless you go through and you turn them off, you're going to find that you've got them, right? What are they, you say? These are auto date time. So what's actually happening behind the scenes, I'll show you actually quickly. We'll go through this. If we're going into DAX Studio, we open this up and we're going through, right? Bring DAX Studio down here, right? Straight away. Don't even need to do anything. You can see them, right? It's created a local date time table for each and every date time value, or date value in this case, that was there. So it's created a table of reference didn't want to do it. You definitely didn't want to have them in a proper enterprise level data model, because what you're going to do is put in a calendar table like we're doing here. Yeah. So we've got a calendar table in here. So we definitely don't want auto date time. So what do we do to stop auto date time? Okay. And this is something you need to do. If you've never done it, go and do it now. So I'll wait for you to go and open Power BI, and I'll tap my foot and we'll wait. You got it open? Great. Right. Let us crack on. Here we go. So if we go into the data into here, options and settings, options, right? And let us have a look-see. So one of the things that you do is for your global under data load, make sure you tick that box. Sorry, untick that box for auto date time. Make sure that is unticked. Yeah, something to do. I'm sitting there. I've got it ticked. I haven't. Untick that, right? And then lastly, data load, which is your current file, because you can have auto date time turned off globally, but for your file, you need to come in and untick that, right? So if somebody hands you a Power BI file, and they're like, oh, I've been doing it, it's dead good, and you look at it, and they've got all them icons, they've got that turned on. So you need to go to their current file data load, turn it off, so untick that box, and click OK. They'll all disappear, right? And now what we can do, if we're going back to our external tools, back into DAX Studio, you see all those extra tables have disappeared. Now, I've heard rumors and I've heard tales out and about in the wild of like massive data models that couldn't be used properly and were, costing businesses thousands in Power BI premium subscriptions per month. And somebody realized and just unticked a couple of boxes. Well, those two boxes on it, turned off the auto date time for it, and all of a sudden it would work on a P1 node. So it's a really expensive thing to do in the real world. It slows everything down and it just doesn't do anything for your data model. Because if you built it properly and you've got proper relationships in there, you want to be able to use your calendar table, because then you can compare your dates, right? If you didn't and you use the auto date time, the dates that are created, they're not related. So you'd end up putting in year fields from everything. It's just different date, right? Just, give your head a shake and just go to yourself, no, I am not going to do auto date time. Auto date time is evil. So there we go, right? We're not evil people. So here's our file. This is what it's going to look like, right? Where do we get our data from? Dead simple, right? So let us get that open. So we got our data from this UCI machine learning repository. I found it from, right? Put the URL for it in the description below. So when you're going down, liking and subscribing, which of course you've all subscribed, haven't you? And you're all loving these videos that I'm doing. Don't forget, you can click there, download this data set, right? So we can go through what we've done. So we're going back through into the home page, going to transform the data. Here we are, right? So I've got, these are the tables that we're actually bringing through, and I've got loads of hidden tables. Well, not hidden. Let me get the right one of these. So I've got these hidden tables, which are common. I do this quite a lot with what I do. So when I'm bringing things in, unenable load or disable load, untick the enable load button. That's the right way to put it, isn't it? Right? Used it for the base. This is doing the basic build of the CSV file that we downloaded from that site. And I'm doing it with the calendar table. So again, the calendar table, I'll put the M script for that down below. What I've done with this though, there's one thing that I haven't done, or we haven't had in the past, which is kind of a month index, which is useful. Now this method will work for a lot of things. So for the years, for the months, for anything else that you want to combine in your Power BI reports or to build your calendar table, right? Because don't forget, the way we're doing these video series, I'm not using database data sources or anything like that. So the next step that I would probably do with your calendar table, as I've said to all of you, is if you can, get one in SQL, get something written so it does everything that you want in SQL, right? If you didn't, don't worry, right? There's ways of doing this. What I might do is go through and build a whole pack in data flows that's going to surface up a calendar table from like 1900 to 2100 or something like that, and go through and do everything that I'd want done in it, right? But there's lots of little loop backs and loops like this that you've got to do if you're going to do it that way, right? But the overhead's well worth it to get a good, crisp calendar table that's going to work for you time and again. But for now, what I've done here is I've just taken a copy of it. So just referenced it. You can see from the source is T calendar. I've removed all the other columns. So we've just got month, year, removed the duplicates. It's already sorted by date because that's how it was in the calendar table. And then I've just added an index to it. And then that means I can combine the T calendar into a calendar. So we've got a merge queries here. We're pulling it in, doing a join on the two columns. Yeah. Year and month. And then lastly, expanding it to bring out the index and just renaming the index as it comes in to month ID. Okay. Nothing too difficult. And what it means is I've now got an order for the months. We've got IDs for months. The next step would generally be that you'd actually start to combine it into saying, well, where are we relative to me now, which is where the day drift is, and the month drift, year drift. Get a month drift going. So how far are we from now? Now is always 0. So 0 in day drift would be today. This year is 0 in the year drift, and so on and so forth. This calendar, though, it's only 2016 to 2017, so that's not much point in pushing it further like that, right? What you guys want to see is the incidents, right? So you can see I've got the incidents here. We've imported that CSV file that you download from it. And what I've done, just as I was looking through it, I found that the last entry in it is this active one, where it goes to false. So it's now like the instance being closed, completed, done. It's over. Stop messing with it. We're done. So I thought, right, so we're just filtering it down to show us just the ones that aren't active. That's all we're done, right? And I've got me sorted rows. So I've just sorted it to the opened at. Because I was looking at the dates. This isn't even needed field anymore, this. And now we're in the custom function. So what I've got is we've got lots of these fields here, like the caller ID, the open by. And I thought, tell you what, let us get a random generator to generate 1,000 names of people, right? And then we can assign a name to each of these. Right? Yeah, might work. See how it goes. So all I've done is I've got a list of names, right? I had to find some websites for these. I tell you, people don't want to give you a random list of names. I'll put a URL down below. Don't forget to get your list of names from there, right? Once you've got your list of names, what we needed to do though was get rid of all the extra stuff like caller or open by, created by, updated by, resolved by, assigned by, all that stuff, yeah? So it's dead easy to do, right? Because you could do each one, hassle. And I thought, no, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to write a function, okay? Now, everyone goes, write a function. That's kind of difficult, isn't it? It's not difficult at all, right? It's actually a lot easier than you probably realize. All you need to do is say, I'm going to write something new, a blank query, right? And then go into the advanced editor, okay? I'll put the syntax, all the code for this in below, right? But what you need to remember is the beginning. And what you need to do is, well, basically it's just follow the beginning steps. So if we're going back to Word deck, you can see here, yeah? So in this case, we're saying CreatedID equals and the variable that you're going to hand. So like a parameter, right? So I've called it FindID. And that's going to be the column that you handed. Okay? Maybe equals or greater than, and then it's this let. So we're then going to use a let to effectively build another table within it, which is going to have a result. Now, the thing about M, and it's the bit that always kind of confuses people and makes it really difficult to get started with it, is that it's not sequential. So what do I mean? It's not sequential. So if we come back to our Power BI, yeah, we come out of here, and I can edit my query here, right? That was zoom in. Let's do it this way, yeah. Right. What you're doing in your let phase is you're declaring functions. So effectively, each line of this is a function that's going to call another function and is going to call another function. So almost Power BI with the M processing is going from the bottom up. So what we're doing is we're saying, right, I want this created ID. Bring back that created ID. And it's saying, well, created ID equals FindID, which is kind of this stuff. And I go, well, right, so I need to get FindID. So what's FindID? And FindID is going to be the last characters. And what's last characters? You say, this is where it gets, yeah. So it goes backwards. So last characters is text.end, which is like the same as write in most coding languages. So the right-hand side, the end of the text. I want the last 3 characters from trim string. What's trim string? Well, trim string is where I've trimmed the string that's got the non-numeric numbers in it. And trim just means I've taken the space characters or the empty space characters away from the start or end of the number line or of a set of characters. So I've done that. Well, which ones did I do that on? I did it on this RemovenonNumbers. So what was that? That was a text remove. So we removed all the numbers from this lowercase. Well, what's lowercase? Lowercase is where we made FindID lowercase. So all of a sudden, we're actually going to return CreatedID is going to be the result of this FindID, which is start. This is the start point, and we've got an end point at the end of it, which is going to now be a trimmed set of characters, right? It is weird to understand, but when you stop looking at M and thinking it's sequential and realize it's not, it's following an order, and the order is defined by what we're calling. So in this case, we're calling last chars, so last characters, which is that, which is calling this trim string, which is here, which is calling this RemovenonNumbers, which is here, which is calling this lowercase, which is here, and which is calling FindID, which is there. So all of a sudden, we're getting a picture of what's going on. Yeah. I didn't expect you to get it. Going, oh, I can't make sense, right? But wrote that. It's not now too complicated. I'm sure you can agree, yeah? So we'll do that, show you it in action. So all it's doing is we're running it on here, and we're giving it here, calling it, invoke a custom function, add it, give it a name, caller ID, function to pick, and what you want FindID to equal, right? And then it'll run through and it returns caller ID. So it gives me a nice set of, in this case, it's 3 digits, because I was only generating 1,000 people, man. I'm not going to generate 10,000 people and get them all covered. I'm lazy like that, yeah? So we've got 999 potential options for people. Let's see how it goes, right? And then you just carry on, rinse and repeat, calling that function, and each time it returns those. The next thing we did was here. Now, replace values was a difficult one. And this is one where you can start, or where I had to start actually just updating some of the stuff in here. So I went through, just highlighted a load of columns, removed question marks, replaced with null. That's what's happening, yeah? So replace question marks with null. If you look at it, the window that you do it in, click on the cog, it's not difficult, yeah? Replace values, question mark with null, okay? So we did that. And all I did then was, as I was going through, I was finding that with more in other columns. So like caller ID, for example, if we just delete that, we'll now see that caller ID will have some question marks in it. So if we filter this, we'll be able to find question marks. Load more, there'll be question marks, I promise you. There are question marks. 1,000 user limit, 1,000 rows limit, right? there are 3 question marks in it. So what you need to do is just put in the value, caller ID. Yeah, make sure it's in speech marks for a column header. Oh, click enter when you're not in the middle of a text string, and that'll work, right? Now, by doing that and being able to add those in, especially column values, it's easy to do. And for all it looks really complicated and it's a difficult language to get your head around, there are little things you can do with it very quickly and easily. The thing to remember is you got your curly brackets at the end, like the little back to front 3s or forward 3s, I don't know what you call them. They mean it's a list. So what we're saying is we've got a list of characters here for you to deal with, or a list of columns. In this case, it's expecting a list of columns. And then they're contained within your normal brackets. Okay? So there is method to the madness, as they say. Hi. Once we did that, I removed the columns that we started with in terms of the names we'd started with. And then a little trick here. So where you've got text values like this, a date time, if you just go straight to date time, you might find errors, right? So one of the little things you can do is just go to date time first and then go to date from there. So you convert them to date as a 2-step process, and that you'll find will work and you're not breaking everything. So we've now got a final sweep done. The incident table is here. It's probably wider than it should be, but it's easy. We can carry on evolving as we move forward. Okay. The main thing, we've now built a data set that's going to work. We've got our people in there. We've got our stuff pulled together. We hit close and apply. It loads up. If we're going back to it, you'll see if we're going into the relationships here, there's a couple of surprises that we had. Oh, I didn't mention the mining, did I? So I've done some stuff with the mining. That was just gone back in, home, transform the data. You never said I'd missed the mining out, right? I've done 2 versions. So mining 1 is coming from base. And what we've done is we've just removed all the other columns except for the status column, the incident state, and the update, because that's the date time that an update was made. So we've got those 2 together, and that's given us like a process history table. All right, and I've just renamed status and date time, which makes it consistent across the 2 tables. The other one, again, we've started with base, but we've done it a bit differently. We've filtered the rows to the false, like we did before with incidents. And then what I've done is I've just kept all the incidents, date times that are there. Updates probably what is one I've dropped in the end. We'll see, I think I've removed it. So I've got those, renamed them, or gone through the process before to just get them to date time. Right? All the date time values there. Got to the question marks replaced with, the question marks being replaced with nulls. I've removed the updates. So we've got open, submitted, resolved, and closed as our options. And then I've unpivoted it. And then again, just renamed those status and date time. So I thought it'd be interesting to see the difference between the 2. And there already is actually, just at a quick glance level. I did find some. And I'll go through and I'll have a look. But I'm kind of thinking that mining 2 might be the more accurate one. But, what do I know? Right. So we've used the process science one to map this. Mining 1, and I've used the path now one to map mining 2. Now, both of them are showing issues. If we go with this completely unfiltered, you'll find they're both kind of showing issues. This one sends too many values. I don't know if that's related to me being on a free license. Path now one is saying the same, right? 30,000 row limit. It's not an issue. I mean, as I said before, we can filter these down and then they start playing ball. And most of the time with these, you're going to get more value looking at these over a limited time frame anyway. if you looked at your process history over a 5-year period, you're probably going to get less value out of it than looking at it how it evolves over time. So I've just done the month year kind of thing, work through it and have a look. But we'll come back into this. We'll do it in more detail in the future. So that's the main data set that we've got, right? This is something that we're going to be doing a lot more of, I think. I'm liking it so far. It's working well. We'll get into the process next week of how to actually start to build a KPI pack. And most importantly, what we're going to do next week, I think, is we're going to look at that control chart. So I'm really keen that we start to show how you can leverage the external tools that are available within Power BI. So if you're going to follow along, one of the things you're going to need for next week, right, is Tabular Editor. So download Tabular Editor, have a look at it, make sure you work out how to pull it into Power BI. If you're not sure, confused, once you've gone down below, as I say, like and subscribe, you can always contact us, put a comment on the video, let one know, get into our websites where everything's there. We've got links to email with comments on comments. Yeah. Really, if you're telling us next week, oh, I haven't got a clue, whose fault's that? It's not mine. Teflon Tommy, yeah, that's what they call me. So honestly, have a look with this, right? This data set is going to be fun. It's already looking like there's stuff in there that's going to really push our DAX to the next level. So take care of yourselves. We'll catch up in a week or so. Hi, crack on. Brilliant. Have a great weekend. Ta-da.